remind people about the
Delay.
questions.
Oh, I have to put this up. You ready? Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's been a long time since I chatted with you, so I thought I would take this opportunity just to have a meeting with you. I would like to just say it's nice to be able to chat with you.
Look at that.
Yes, it's nice to be able to chat with you. I hope that you have made it through the winter okay, and now we look forward to some really good weather and hopefully the opening up of our communities again. So I will share with you what is happening here at the home. As you know, our residents have received both the first and second dose of Pfizer. There was no interaction with any of our residents, so they seem to take it well. Staff, we're sitting at about the 76% of having received the vaccine, taking into consideration that we have some people who, for medical reasons, are unable to take the vaccine. Some of our staff are very young, especially our screeners, high school age, so they're not prepared at this point to take the vaccine. And then we have new staff coming on, and we are setting them up so that they can go and get their vaccine. So we're hoping to increase that number as much as possible. Every essential family caregiver that contacted us, we were able to hook them up to go and get their first dose. We don't know what happens with the second dose because that is set up by the health department. So things are looking good that way. Having said that, the ministry has not made any changes to any of the protocols that we currently have in place. And I do believe that is because at this point in time, they do not know how the virus may be spread. We know that we're in an area where there's variants of concern, so we continue to follow the same protocols we have done all winter. So in February, which was an extremely stressful month for us here at the home, the ministry came out with some new protocols, and after much back and forth and head scratching, we have now put into place what's called third-party screening. And so what the ministry wanted was they wanted the people who were screening to be at arm's length from the home. I believe the reason for this is that in some situations, screeners have let people into the home that they shouldn't have, and that's how the homes became, or they had their outbreak. So I think that was the reasoning behind it. It was very hard to understand, but we do have the same screeners that we had before. They just work for somebody else and not for us. The ministry provided the funding, so it was just a matter of us trying to figure out who would be the right people to ask to take this on for us. We are also in February started doing the rapid antigen testing. That's where we do the nasal swab and you wait, they say 15 minutes, but usually it's about 5 minutes we have the results. So far, we haven't had any positive results. Everybody has been negative. We do close to 300 of these swabs a week, so it's a busy testing site. We have been staffing, and we will continue to staff this particular clinic with our staff. We don't have enough staff, so we are looking for more if you know of anybody that might be interested. For those of you who haven't been visiting the home, what the rapid antigen testing is that first you're screened at the door. If you pass, you go into the chalet and you are swabbed, and then you sit and you wait for the result. And as I mentioned, it usually takes about 5 minutes. So what we're doing is we're following the directives from the ministry, and basically the staff are swabbed every other day. So the first day, if they've been off, the first day that they come on shift, they would be swabbed. The next day they come in, they wouldn't have to be, and the day after that, they would be swabbed. In the beginning, the ministry told us that essential caregivers had to be swabbed every day. After about a week or so, the direction came down that they would be swabbed similar to staff. So families go through the same process. If we have an essential worker coming in, they have to be swabbed every time they come in. Now, we ran into a situation, for example, where we have life labs coming in, and they come in on a Tuesday to do blood work. But we're not the only home that they go to, so they go to a number of homes. They usually come to our home first, so they would come and they would be tested, and then we would give them a letter saying they're negative, if they're negative, and that letter they will take with them when they go to the next home. So they don't have to be tested in each home, they only have to be tested once a day. And it could work the other way, where they're tested somewhere else, and then they would bring in proof of a negative antigen test for that day for us. So that's kind of just how the whole screening of people is going. I think it's an excellent idea because we're catching people before they go on the floor. They have to stay in the chalet until they can prove that they have a negative swab. So if anybody had a positive or there was a question or concern, we would send them off to a clinic to get a PCR test, and then we would wait for that result. I know I want to talk about the big thing. I had said, if you have any questions, please send them to me prior to the meeting so I could address them. And I think what I heard most is people asking, when can we visit? You know, when can our family members go outside? I don't have an answer for you because the ministry has been very quiet on that front. We are opening up the courtyards. This weekend is supposed to be really nice, so I've asked the staff to clean up the courtyards and put out the chairs so that the residents have the opportunity to go and sit outside if they so choose. Some people have asked me, when are we going to put up the visitation booths? We're not going to be doing that yet until we know whether or not we have to. I figure by the end of March, that's the year end for the ministry, we should be getting a flurry of directives and memos and direction on what we should be doing. So at the moment, we stay the course that we've been doing for the last, I don't know, feels like 6 months or so. The other thing is we are in red, and so we also go back to the public health unit, the levels that they declare. We know there's a variant of concern out there, so this is not the time for us really to be relaxing our protocols. We've done very well. We don't want to stop what we're doing and then find out that we've let the variant in after all this time. So we wait to hear what the ministry tells us. We consider it in terms of what is the safest thing we can do for our residents and our staff and our families. And that's how we have approached this whole pandemic, and that's how we will continue to move forward. And as soon as I know anything in terms of opening up, being able to visit, or do we have to set up our visitation booths again, we will let you know. So the ministry provided us with some minor capital funding. Is to be used for prevention infection control. So we decided to remove the carpeting in the resident hallways, and that is happening now. So right now in D1, the carpet has been lifted, the floors are being scraped, and we will be laying down vinyl plank. We tried to find something that would match the sheet vinyl that's in the rooms, which is very difficult to do. So we had to submit a project and drawings to the ministry for approval, because one of the things that the ministry is looking at, they want to ensure that the residents are not greatly affected by any kind of renovations that we're doing within the home. So we put together a safety plan, we put together a COVID plan, we put together floor plans showing how we're going to do it, where we're going to put the residents, and they are posted throughout the home. I know that all of you can't get into the home to see that, but they are posted, and it does tell each wing when the contractors will be there and when the contractors will be working in their particular area. The contractors have been taught proper PPE, and they are tested every day that they come in. We're dividing the area so that we can keep the residents and the contractors separate, and staff will be keeping the residents in the dining room. We're going to put some cots in the dining room. We have the washroom, and if the contractors are working in front of their door, then we can take care of the residents while that is being done. And I've been told they should be done, the one wing, in 2 or 3 days. So I think it's going to go a lot faster than we had first imagined. So that's happening. We also have, a little bit busy here today, we also have the contractors in who repaired the showers because there was an issue. So they're fixing the 2 showers, spas that are currently out of operation. We're going to monitor that for a month. If there are no issues, they will come back and fix the other 2 spas because hopefully they'll have found the problem. So this will be the third time that the spas have been repaired, and hopefully the last time. Staffing. So we've extended the RCA's contracts to the end of April, at which time we'll be bringing on nursing students. So nursing students, once they're successfully completed their first year of nursing, can work for us as PSWs. So we actually have 7 of them starting at the beginning of May, and another 2 in July, and by then, who knows, Chris may have hired more. So some of our RCAs were from housekeeping and dietary. They will go back to their other jobs, and the nursing students will be our PSWs, and it will mean that we'll have a full complement of staffing. So that will get us through the summer. In the summer, we'll have to start thinking about how we're going to handle the fall. And meanwhile, the ministry has put out some new information on fast tracking PSWs, a 6-month course. It's fully paid for. I think they get paid. I think we will look at being a training center. So when they need to do their placement, they could come here. In the past, we've always had PSW students working quite a bit, and that has been a real help to us. So I'm sure that's something that we will consider doing in the future. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Are there any questions? Looks like there are.
There's a question that says, I was just wondering if there's a reason for the wage disparity between Grey County and Simcoe County.
The wage disparity, so each home pays differently. So I don't know what you mean by what, I don't know who you're talking about specifically. The county homes pay more because they get the same funding as we do from the Ministry of Health, but they also get a nice big top up from the county. So if that answers your question, I'm not sure.
Patricia Campbell says the BRHD has done an incredible job at keeping the facility 100% COVID free. I wish to extend all staff my most grateful claim to you.
And you're very welcome, and I will pass that along to the staff.
Linda Taggart wants to know, after she gets the vaccine for COVID, will I be allowed to come in and spend time with my mother?
So the answer to that right now is, are you an essential caregiver? Because if you are an essential caregiver, you can come in and visit your mother every day. Most of our essential caregivers have received the COVID vaccine. Some may not have. They're still allowed to come in. Whether you have the vaccine or not right now does not determine whether you're allowed to come in or not, because at this point in time, the vaccine is voluntary. If you're just a visit, like a general visitor, the answer would be no, whether you had the vaccine or not, because right now, general visitors are not allowed into the home, only essential caregivers. And that is 2 essential caregivers per resident, 1 coming in at a time. Wow, having a full complement of staffing at BRHD via nursing students throughout the summer is a great news. Oh, yes, it is good news. And I should share some other hopefully good news. We submitted, as we always do, for Summer Canada jobs. I requested 2 resident care assistants, 1 for each care center, and 2 activity individual staff, so that they could each work 1 at each care center in case we're still cohorted in the summer. So we usually hear in May as to whether or not we got the students, and I can't imagine why we wouldn't have. So that will help a little bit too.
So just remind them they're about a minute behind, so questions should come in now.
Okay, so just to remind you that you're about a minute behind. So if you have any questions, there'll be a bit of lag time.
Got it? That's a comment from Jill.
Oh, the essential caregiver needs to pass the screening test and have a negative rapid antigen test based on the required frequency prior to visiting their loved ones. That's correct. So the essential caregivers are basically being tested the same as the staff every other day, or depending on when they're visiting. So, yeah. Yeah, I just want to reiterate to you that as soon as I have any idea of how visiting works, someone asked me if you could go back to the window visits at the side now that the snow is gone. I don't see a reason why not. That was more convenient for some people, just to go to the windows at the end of the building. So you can still go ahead and do that. That's not a problem. Again, though, you do need to coordinate it with Amy, if at all possible. Okay, well.
You're caught up.
Okay. So if there's nothing more, I'm going to say thank you for listening. Thank you for all your support. Okay, thank you for all your support. Okay, there's a question. Are essential caregivers allowed to take residents outside? Yes, you can take them in the courtyards only. At this point in time, we're not allowing residents to go out the front door, but they can certainly go into the courtyards. Lorraine, window visits for everyone? Yeah, window visit is for anybody. You just need to coordinate it, because we have to find the staff to get your loved one ready, to bring them down to the window, and then at times people are wanting to use a phone so they can communicate. So that all has to be set up. And if somebody just shows up at the window, we may not be able to accommodate that because we haven't planned it into the day. Because we're doing this on top of everything else that we were already doing. Lorraine says awesome.
Caught up.
Okay.
Sorry, hairdresser.
Oh, yes. Have you heard anything about a hairdresser? Yes, I think, if I remember rightly, and there's been a number of conversations, so I could be wrong, But I think the same hairdresser that we had before COVID started is coming back. I would need to check with Jen Pilon, but I will get the answer to that and send it out to everybody. Because there's nothing better than a haircut. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you. Currently, we have 5 empty beds here in the home. So what we've done over the past 6 months or so is that we haven't brought in any new admissions. And what we have submitted to the LIN is that we would like to keep those 5 beds empty, and we could cohort those beds for isolation and in case we went into an outbreak. So if we went into an outbreak, what we would like to do is cohort residents into just one area so that we'd be able to control it. We have to wait and see if we get approval on that request. And also a lot of that depends upon funding. So there's a lot of things that we're getting funding for now that end on March 31st. And we're all asking the question, what happens after March 31st? We need to know how to proceed after that date in terms of funding. So just want to let you know that even though we haven't had an outbreak, we had a mock outbreak drill in February. It went really well. The staff responded really well. We had a debrief, and then we put together questions and answers for all of the staff so that, you know, there would be a question and then the answer below so they knew how things should proceed. And that went really well. And I feel like that has equipped our staff to certainly be more prepared if we were to go into outbreak. But we would rather just keep that as our drill, and that would be the end of it. We wouldn't get into an outbreak. You can cut, if you want to cut your family member's hair, you can. We do have scissors and what have you. Just need to ask the nurse for that. And then Joanne is saying, I have a hairdresser that has been and is tested regular for COVID, and she could come in and do my mom's hair for her 105th birthday. Well, that's kind of a special event, so I'm sure that we can, after this meeting, talk to you about that. Obviously, if one's turning 105, that's quite the milestone. So we'll chat about that, but I'm sure we can arrange something.
You're caught up.
Okay. Any more? Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. We're always here. Sorry. We're always here. I'm always, if you want to give me a call or send me an email, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Amy's always here, running around, and just take care. Stay safe. Have a nice Easter if we don't talk before then, and we will keep you informed. Thank you.